Hey, how's it going, everybody? So, it's been about a week or so since the custom games update came out for astroneer, and I've been playing around a little bit in here, and I thought I would show you a couple of the things that I found in here. Uh, let's go into custom game. So, we've got create a new configuration where you can completely customize every planet in here. We have hardcore mode, story mode, and hardcore mode 2. Now, the hardcore modes, you cannot respawn in those. And let me tell you, they're tough. Story mode, however, is pretty fun. I kind of like this one. So you can change what planet you start on. You go ahead, pick your planet, Glacio, Silva, Bisanya, Calidor. I'm going to leave it on Silva for right now. We're going to skip the launch sequence and no starting shelter because that just takes too long. So in the story mode, if you click on the starting items, these guys have given you a portable oxygenator and a QT RTG to start with. You have unlimited respawns. Your power generation for global, solar, and wind have been turned up to 2, while your consumption is at 1. Oxygen, the consumption's been turned down to 0.5, which is perfectly fine. And they've turned up the research speed to 2. So it's going to research things a little faster for you. Now, if you want, you can give yourself any number of starting research bytes if you wanted. You can give yourself 1,000,000 if you wanted, or you can give yourself 1,000, 100, whatever. And then your reward multiplier, the number of bytes gained from researching items. I'm just going to leave that at 1. And if you go down here into the bundled recipes, you'll see you can disable a lot of things in here. You can disable all the shuttles. You can disable all the vehicles if you want. Power generation items, oxygen, printers, base modules. So I don't recommend disabling that one because then you don't get any trade platforms, a smelting furnace, shredders, all the stuff that you're probably going to need in order to progress in the game. And then platforms. Do not disable this one because you need the platforms to put the stuff on. So I generally just leave these alone unless, you've got a really warped sense of humor and you want to make things an absolute nightmare for the players on your server. Don't disable this. And then if we go into the solar system settings, yes, speaking is hard. You can go in and you can change settings on all of the planets if you want. And as you can see, they all come with pre-generated seeds on each of the planets. So, but you can change those. So let's go down here to Selva, and this seed right here, 941,453,376, is not the greatest seed in the world. I've tried it. It's not great. So let's change the seed, and I'm just going to do something here. 192837465. Not going to put a 0 in there at all. I'm going to skip that altogether. So that's going to be our seed. Should be interesting. So let's go to the biomes. So you can change planet modifiers if you want, like the gravity. That, if you turn the gravity down, that makes the game really interesting. If you turned it down to half, it's probably not so bad, but if you turned it down to, like, say, 0.1, it would be just a nightmare trying to get around on the planet. And you can change the wind rate and the wind gust rate. So if you wanted to use wind power exclusively on your planet or as your main source of power, then you could turn those up and use that. But let's go into the biomes. So you can modify all of this. from the core to everything on the surface. Now, these ones on the surface, the forests, the plains, mountains, and the crevasses, you can modify the biome weight of those anywhere from 0 to 20. And if you do, well, you get some interesting results. So let's go into the forests. Let's add a modifier, and we're going to change the biome weight of forests. We'll turn it down to 0. And then we're going to modify the plains. And we'll give that a biome weight of 0 as well. Let's just turn all of the surface ones down to 0. And I'll show you what the planet looks like when you turn all of the surface biomes down to 0. Now, when it comes to the caves, the mantle, and the core, take a look at the caves here. The modifiers for everything that's underground, you can change the hazards, the POIs, the decorators, puzzles, and the resources. You cannot change the biome weight of those. They are the core of the planet, so don't even bother trying. But yeah, so we've turned all of the surface biomes down to 0. Let me show you what happens when you do that. Let's get into it. This is what happens. Your planet just basically becomes a giant marble. Bye-bye, pod. Since we have no starting shelter, our pod just goes and leaves us on this planet. And there's nothing here. It is, well, there is that. You will get, occasionally, little anomalies like this. So even though we have turned down every biome on the planet to 0, little anomalies like this pop up. And it's just basically like a little fold in the surface. And you look down into that fold and you can see down into the caves. And I'm not sure, but no, you can't fall through it. I was thinking, maybe you could just slip through the crack there and fall down into the caves, but it won't let you. So, other than that, the only thing that is actually on the surface of this planet, let's turn on the oxygenator, are those purple pyramids. So there is one over there, and that's the closest one. Ooh, saw a whole bunch of resources down there that I'd really like to go get. So when you get over to these guys, you can run all the way around this planet, and it's all like this. Just a barren planet with nothing on it. And all of this up here, this is mountain rock. So it's a little on the difficult side to dig through. It's going to take you a while, but you can get down to the caves. There's another little anomaly over there. And if we run over here to our little purple pyramids, they're all still on the planet, but they're all raised up a little bit. So in order to actually get up onto the pyramid and unlock the thing, you would need to create a ramp in order to get up there, because that right there is just a little too tall to jump up to. Our little guy just does not have the energy. But there, we've unlocked lights in the distance. So yeah, that floor is taller than we are, and it's taller than our head even when we jump. But because we're on Silva, and this is the easiest planet, we can actually take our little cutie RTG, put it there, and we're going to turn off our oxygenator so we don't drain our battery. And because this thing is putting out double the power, it says 1 unit of power per second there. It's actually 2. If we connect it to this, well, no, that doesn't actually That's right. Last time I did this, I had a little wind turbine here also connected to this, and that was enough power to unlock the pyramid. So that's okay. As long as you've got the POIs and that turned on, then you can get little stuff like that. Probably get a little solar panel. Now that the sun's up here, we can actually see what this planet looks like in the daytime, and yeah, it's just one big marble. So, that's what happens if you turn everything down. Now, let's go delete this game and go back into the custom, and be careful of this. When you jump out and then jump back in to create a new one, the order of these changes. So you got to pay attention to them. So SES story mode last time was like up here. Now it's down here. So that's the one I want to go to. And I want to show you what Silva looks like with all of the settings cranked to 20. So I'm going to change my seed and we'll do the same thing. There we go. That's going to be our seed. And let's modify all the biomes. And we're just going to crank the weight up to 20 on all of them. Because we can do that and we're kind of crazy. So you would think that cranking up the biome weight to 20 on all of the surface biomes on Silva would probably just make it a real nightmare to get around. But surprisingly, it's actually not. So this is what happens when you dial it up to 20. Welcome to Silva, dialed to 20. The mountains are kind of huge. There's lots of plains. The forests are generally bigger. Bye, dropship. Okay, now that that's gone, we can talk again. So the forests are generally a lot bigger. You're going to find more resources in them. Let's turn on that so that it doesn't bother us while we're running around. But yeah, everything on the surface is just dialed to 20. And it's actually not that bad. I thought dialing this up to 20 would just turn this into an absolute nightmare. Mountains would be up to the clouds, crevasses would be, half a mile deep and everything. But actually, we are technically in a valley, but it is at the bottom of a crevasse. Technically. So there's a false cave entrance right there. Those are always fun. That's a false one. And this one actually goes down to the caves. Yay! So I didn't change anything on the caves, which is probably a good thing. Oh, look. That goes right down there. So the first level of caves isn't too bad. You've got the regular hazards and POIs down there and the resources and everything. And you get the same thing on the surface here. So if you wanted to, you could actually turn up the number of POIs, like this pad right here with the small battery on it. Those are currently set at 1. If you want, you can crank them up to 22. And then, of course, these guys, the research samples and the hazards and all kinds of stuff, even though there are no hazards on the surface of Silva. So you can't actually turn those up on the surface, but down in the caves and that, you can turn up the hazards down there, and that's a lot of fun. Because it's not the hazards that you think would appear. So, yeah, we've got a curious item, power cell, a squeaker horn, and a floodlight. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but that was fun. So, I wonder. I haven't actually run across any crevasses on this planet yet. Because I know this is a valley. There's got to be a crevasse somewhere. Okay, there is a pyramid over there, just on the other side of that forest over there. So I'm going to go run in that direction, and I'll be back in a second, and we'll see if I can find any good crevasses over there. Okay, so while I didn't find any really interesting crevasses cutting into the ground here, I did find something else that was interesting. Our pyramid is floating way up there in the air. Why are you way up there? Get down here on the ground. I realize you're an alien structure, but get down here on the ground. I dialed everything up to 20. You should almost be buried. But no, it's floating way up there where I can't reach it. How am I supposed to get up to that thing? I'm going to have to make a ramp from this hill and go up to it. Although I'm not going to do that right now. Let's see. I don't think we're going to get any really good areas around here. Pretty smooth around here. A lot of plains and forests. So let's actually go. Let's go to the North Pole, because there should be crevasses around the North Pole and the South Pole. Let's go see. Okay, so I've come to the pyramid at the North Pole. And just like the other one, this thing's floating up in the air too, right next to this really cool mountain right there. That thing's huge. So I'm guessing all of them are going to be floating up in the air like that. The mountains are really awesome. The crevasses aren't as bad as I thought. So we've got an opening into the caves right there, down at the bottom of this crevasse. But they're not as bad as I thought. I expected these things to be a lot deeper. So they haven't really changed all that much. Even though I turned them up to 20. You would think that they would be like, half a mile deep, but guess not. The mountains. The mountains are cool. I like them. Although the area around here is a little bit treacherous. I wouldn't want to fall down there, because you'd be falling directly into the caves. Why not? Geronimo! Ooh, and we died. Well, I kind of expected that. Meh. What do you do? So, we're back to our starting point here with our nice big mountains around here and huge forests and lots of plains. So, that's what happens when you turn Silva up to 20. Let's go, and we're going to go back to the menu here for a second, and we'll delete that one. As fun as it is, I'm going to delete it. And let's go back into here and story mode. And check those two. And this time, I'm actually going to go over to the hardest planet in the system, Aatrox. Because I can. And we're not going to change anything here. All we're going to change is the settings on the planet itself. So I'm actually going to leave the seed on this one where it is, because I don't know where another seed would put me on this planet. But let's modify the biomes. I'm actually going to take the mountains. We're going to change the weight on the mountains down to 0. The canyons, sure. Let's modify the canyons a touch. And we're going to turn the biome weight on the canyons down to 0.6. And the hills, we're going to turn that down too. Let's turn the biome weight on the hills down to 0.6. And then dunes, well, you know what? Let's turn them down a little bit too. Why not? Let's turn them down to 0.6. And all that's left is the underground stuff. So we're not going to do anything with that. But having done that to Aatrox, let's go see what it looks like. So this should actually mellow it out a little bit. And it's looking not too bad. Okay. Bye. Thanks for the ride, dropship. So, yeah. Turning those settings down actually mellows the planet out just a little. Makes it a little easier to get around, since you don't have these massive valleys to fall into and stuff. We still got those hazards around here. So we've got a small battery and a medium turbine right there, and then we've got a medium battery here. Ooh. Gotta say, the resources in the POIs, another small battery. Resources in the POIs are pretty good. So if you wanted to start out on Aatrox, you could. And what is that? Hello? Is that what I think? That's what I think it is, isn't it? Unclassified probe. No, that's not such an unclassified probe. I'm pretty sure that's Sputnik. What are you doing floating up in the air on Aatrox? Although it does look kind of alien. Oops, forgot to turn on my oxygenator. It's a good thing it gives you a warning. So if I actually had a probe scanner, I could put it on there and scan this thing, and yeah. But I don't have one with me right now. That's okay. We're just enjoying the view here on Aatrox. Let's dig that a little bit. Make it disappear. Okay, that's gone. So that's just a little anomaly on the planet here. But turning all that stuff down does make this a little easier to get around on the planet. Still got all the usual resources and everything, although you could turn those up or turn them down if you want. It's all up to you. So we're just going to leave Sputnik floating in the air over there. And yeah, I think maybe we'll call it a day. We've looked at a couple of different planets. We've turned the biome weights down to 0, cranked them up to 20, and it's not bad. So that's about it for today. I will jump into the game again at another time, and we'll check some more stuff out. as you can see, I do have one save game here called Stream because I have been playing this over on my Twitch channel. Started playing it on Sunday, and I've got some of the basics down right now. I haven't quite got off. Oh yeah, I have got off the planet. Went over, collected some stuff, and I'm about to build myself a large shuttle so that I can go back and forth and get all the stuff that I need. I did make a few changes in the game. Uh, I did do the story mode on that one, and I tried to keep it as vanilla as possible. I made a few small changes here and there, nothing game breaking, and it's been fun so far. But I think I would actually like to go into the custom games, go into story mode, and crank all the biomes up to 20, and maybe turn up a few other things too, and see how that goes. Play it, see if it's any fun. So, until next time, I'll catch you later.